It's Sunday, August 22nd, 2021. This is all about your Benjamins and your weekly mixtape and week in review video. Hope you had a great week. Apologies for missing last week. We had a soccer tournament down in Gatlinburg, so getting a recording done was not as easy as I thought it was going to be. A fun weekend, but wasn't able to record. So let's get to the headlines that may or may not be impacting your financial plan and portfolio since I'm back this week. As you can see down below, if you're watching this over on All About Your Benjamins, just have a handful of headlines to get through. They shouldn't take us too long, so let's get to them. The first one is going to be nothing really that's doing anything to the markets right now, but just something that obviously we're all aware of going on in the world right now. But the Taliban taking over the capital in Afghanistan and everything falling out from there. So over this last week we saw some horrendous and some tragic video of the planes taking off and people trying to grasp onto them, and your babies being handed over a wall in hopes that they're going to get out of Afghanistan and have a better life. And just very, very sad. And I only bring it up, one, because we don't know long term what that impact could be, if the US has any bigger response that could have an impact on markets being spooked and things of that sort. But bringing it up more of just a reminder of, no matter how frustrating life may be and things may seem bad, being annoyed with mask mandates coming back in schools or e-learning popping up, really when you look at it, we have it pretty good, at least over here in the States. So I don't know if anybody watching this in other countries, but just a little bit of perspective that a lot of the things we complain about, we take for granted, and you look at a situation like that over in Afghanistan and people are fearful of their lives. They are giving their children away, not knowing what's going to happen with them, just expecting that it would be better than anything that they may experience going forward. So again, not to make light of any problems and struggles you might be going through and things that are going on here, but also even for most of us, the worst that we have is significantly better than what is found in other countries. So that's why I start with that. I lead off with that. Could have implications to the portfolios that we have, international investing, things of that sort, but kind of more of just a perspective piece to start this week off. Let's go into some of the numbers we look at. In July, retail sales fell 1.1%. Not a big deal. Spending still continued to go on. It just was seen more in the services area. Bars and restaurants did better. People were buying less things and doing more things. A little bit maybe weather, but that was what was going on. There was a comment in that piece about consumer confidence going down as well, being tied, they believe, to the Delta variant coming back and what's going to be coming down the road in the fall. Will we have another big run of lockdowns and things of that sort? So confidence a little shaken, not knowing what's going to happen with the next round of COVID that we're seeing spike up right now. But retail sales was down. We saw services going up, so it was shifting over. Next up, I'm going to go back to diversification, talking about international investing. And we haven't talked about it much here yet, but earlier this summer, China cracked down on some of their technology companies and regulations and really have hit the stock market over there pretty hard. And if you are a diversified investor, you have exposure to emerging markets, international funds, there's a high chance that you're going to have an allocation to China in your portfolio, maybe more than you realize. A lot of emerging market funds are very high in China. If that's the case, you may have seen those funds struggling more than the other funds that you may have, and that's perfectly okay. That's part of diversification. There's a saying that as a financial advisor, diversification means always having to say sorry. There's always going to be a part of the portfolio that is lagging, that we have to apologize for, but we don't know when things are going to turn. At least within the financial planning community, there has been a lot of discussion about whether or not we should be changing our emerging markets funds to get to ones that don't have as much China exposure, just to be protective going forward. And no one's come up with a definite yes or no, and there really is no yes or no. It's just understanding what you hold and why you hold it, and be understanding of what's going on. Because what could happen is you choose to move out of a fund that has China in it, the worst is behind us, the markets settle, and then the China portion of the portfolios in the future recover, and you have kind of sold at the downside of it and missed the recovery. So not any investment advice here to go make any changes, but if you have emerging market funds and they look down and you're not sure why, it's probably tied to China. And this article just says that they're continuing to crack down and there's no signs of slowing in the moment. So just be aware of that with your diversification and having the international exposure. Coming back home, it'll probably end up being across the globe, but there was another article about Amazon, and they're going to be opening large stores. So they're going to be opening retail stores, moving away from being online only. Interesting that they put a lot of retail businesses out only to open stores in the future. And this is not their first store. They've done bookstores in the past, which is very, very interesting, or kind of, I don't know if ironic is the right term. Sometimes irony is used in the wrong way, but they used books to get started, put the bookstores out of business, only to come back and open retail bookstores in the past. So I think there's 20 bookstores open around the country. Now they're going bigger. The belief is they're going to be really pushing their Amazon brands, their Amazon essentials, clothing, electronics, things of that sort. But it's interesting to see how that goes. They're going to be able to buy real estate at a very good discount, given a lot of the trouble that malls have coming out of COVID. People are going there less. So retail opportunity for them is going to be good as far as buying the spaces. My guess is, I didn't see it anywhere in the article, and I'm sure not the first person to think this, is these stores will also house as distribution centers as well. So they can store some of the distribution, they can ship a little bit faster out of these stores, and at the same time have a place for you and I to go in, try things on, buy them if we're out and about in the same areas that these stores are in. So interesting to see Amazon stores popping up. In today's age, information that we have, personal information, is never safe and secure, and there is a hack from T-Mobile. So if you are a T-Mobile customer, there's a chance that your personal information may be floating around out on the internet, and you have to be careful of SIM swapping and SIM hacking that's going on. So be aware of that. We're gonna have an interruption here in a second. Got to open a popsicle. Silas, if you can interrupt, you gotta say hi. Can you tell everybody hi? You're not gonna say hi? All right. We open this popsicle. And if you're a parent, you know that right now he's probably not supposed to have a popsicle, but he knows that I am doing something, and it's much easier for me to go ahead and open it than to tell him no and have the ensuing crying going on. So we're back to it. Silas, you say bye?
Bye.
All right, back to it. So T-Mobile has the hack. Be aware if you're a T-Mobile customer. In today's age, unfortunately, we just have to assume that our information's out there and just take the proper precautions to pay attention to it. But in an event that a company you know and use has a hack, then you just kind of want to check it a little bit more as well. And SIM hacking and SIM swapping is going on, pretty prevalent, especially for those that are known in the crypto space of having a lot of assets. SIM hacks go on quite frequently, and I hear they are not the most fun to deal with and kind of scary at the same time. So over time, we'll bring back that conversation, maybe kind of share more about what that is and what to do in that situation. Maybe a good blog post to write about because it does slightly tie into financial planning. And finally, an article for those of you that were or are sporting cards collectors. Topps lost its 70-year-old grip, is what the headline says. Their 70-year-old place in baseball as the premier baseball card for baseball. How many times can I say baseball in one video? Major League Baseball, that is. So Topps is no longer the premier card for MLB. They went with a new brand that's owned by Fanatics, which is just a sporting good company. So it's interesting to see that. Topps was supposed to go public soon via a SPAC, and they had to cancel that given losing this contract. So that was the last major organization that they had a contract with to be the premier card player, and they lost it. So just interesting. It doesn't change anything. Chances are you may have some Topps in the closets like I do. Just a kind of more of an interesting fact, a light note to end on after today's heavy start. So that's it. Be sure to check out the mixtape articles below. We've got the headline articles also right below this video. And these will be coming back on a regular, doing some shifting in my calendar to make sure that I get these recorded on Fridays. So when these come out, if there's anything major that happens on a Saturday or Sunday morning, that will not be included in that week's video. That will fall onto the next one, just to make sure I get that, because we're going into fall season of soccer. We had a game this morning. We have 2 basketball games this afternoon. So making some changes to make sure that I am regular and continuing to be consistent with these videos. As feedback has told me, people are actually watching. I see the numbers, but I've actually had some clients say, hey, I missed those videos. So I'm making sure I bring them back. All right, with that, I'll let you get to your weekend. Thanks for tuning in as always. Be sure to like, share your comments below as well. And I will see you all in the next episode.